Where do we start? I mean, 42 minutes of Rachel Reeves. I don't know if anyone's managed to get to the end. You can do that sort of like scrub thing where you go faster and her voice doesn't get any less monotonous or less irritating, but it does go quicker. So it sort of softens the pain. Oh, please do like, subscribe and share. Really important that we share these. Really important because it gets the word out there. And we are not alone. We're very much not alone. I know that because actually in my local Mole Valley yesterday, a couple came up to say, thanks for the videos. It made my actual day. It's happened a few times recently. I'm loving it. Thank you. It means a lot to me. And I love the fact that we are this cohesive group who all think the same, which makes it even more frustrating that we're all thinking it and yet they're not acting on it. So today's blurb and rubbish that's come out of her mouth is that she's acting in, I mean, I've written a few notes and then I just gave up. The priorities of British people. I don't think Rachel Reeves has a clue what the priorities of British people are. I genuinely don't think she knows. I mean, she talks about improving the cost of living. Now, what does that mean? Well, what we want you to say, Rachel, is that you're going to cut the cost of living, not improve it. Because she could say, well, I've improved the cost of living. I've brought your gas and electricity bills down by 1p. We want to cut the cost of living significantly because none of us can afford to live. And all this waffle and chat, you know, she blames Truss. It's so predictable. She blames Truss. She blames what she inherited. I mean, she blames absolutely everybody else. Interestingly, I didn't hear in any of the questions and answers afterwards. I mean, she deflects them anyway, so it would have been pointless. But I didn't hear many of the journalists saying, you do know that the austerity that you talk about is the residue of the Blair and the Brown governments, don't you? Do you get? No, you don't get that? All right, let's move on. And I don't think she would get that. She cannot accept that any of this is of her making. She cannot accept that there are very different ways out of this, but she's just choosing not to take them. And she's so lost on her moral high ground that there is no saving her. I mean, some of the things she says, I want people to understand the circumstances we are facing. Oh, could you be more patronising? Could you actually be more patronising? I think the British public have got a very good grasp on the circumstances that we're facing because unlike you, Rach, we're actually living it through our pockets. Now, we don't all have the luxury of a Rachel Reeves income, of a Keir Starmer income. We don't get to protect our pension like he does. We don't get to rent out multiple houses like she does. We don't get to do many of the things that the Labour Party do because we don't have what's in their bank balances and we don't have what's coming in their income. We have a very different picture. So when she says, I want people to understand the circumstances, I want you to understand the circumstances, Rachel. It's not difficult. I want you to actually listen to what the British people are saying. I know I sound like a broken record, but that's all it takes. So she talks on, she says, I believe. She talks about a lot about the choices she believes will improve the country. But she talks about I believe and our country. Now, you can't have I and our. So we need to believe that what she is doing is in our best interests. Rachel Reeves has forgotten that she was voted in by a small percentage of the electorate, as I say on a regular basis as well. More people voted to not have Labour than they voted to have Labour. But nonetheless, they were voted in by a group of people. Now, they are here to serve us. So when sentences start with I believe, I feel like saying, I don't really care what you believe, Rachel. I want to know what we believe and how we can move forwards with our country and our economy, because we're all stakeholders in our economy. It is the money that we put in that you are spending. But we're missing that bit again. We're just standing up in front of lots of people trying to look presidential, you know, flags behind us, all aren't I important? And I mean, she looked terrified, and you would be. I've said this before. We often see Rachel fighting for her political life, but her political life is safe. She does not need to worry about this. And the reason that she does not need to worry about this is Keir Starmer won't sack her. Because for as long as incompetent Rach is in power, Keir looks slightly better. And as long as incompetent Rach is in power, Keir can blame somebody else, because that's all the Labour Party do. They blame other people. So it will always be the Conservatives' fault. Now, On the radio this morning, there was a Labour MP whose name escapes me. Well, it doesn't escape me. I wasn't listening when he said who he was. But he said, we got to stop going over why we're in this mess, and we've got to start moving forwards into how we're going to get out of this mess. He didn't say the words mess, but that's what he was alluding to. The point I took from that was we've got to stop looking at why and start going into how. And I thought that's very convenient, isn't it? That's very convenient. You finally caught up with the British public who are saying stop the blame game. You finally caught up with the fact that we are so over hearing it was everyone else's fault. I mean, it was the bloody milkman's fault. It was not Rachel Reeves' fault. But now he's decided he's on board with that. And the reason he's decided he's on board with that is because he's recognised that we are where we are today in November 2025 because of the actions of Rachel Reeves starting from July 2024. Now, every government is going to blame the last government. Every government is going to say it was their fault. Every government is going to say, well, they didn't really leave the shop in order, did they? I mean, it is beyond predictable. However, what normally happens is that waters down and then people just get on with the job. But what we're hearing is it didn't go how I thought it was going to do. Well, I'll still blame them. Well, the choices that I've made, I mean, she told us she was fixing the economy. She told us she was never coming back with a budget like the previous budget. She told us that she wasn't going to raise taxes. And yet here we are, we're hurtling into raising taxes. And then, of course, we're trying to be clever about it and raise thresholds. So we're going to decide that working people aren't actually really working people. And if you earn 45 grand or over, you're not a working person. Okay, Rach, brilliant. So they've shot themselves in the foot with their definition of working person and also alienating half of the country. In fact, not more than half of the country, because we're all working people. So she's now decided that it's only working people that earn £2.50 a month. You're fine, you're okay. But everyone else, you're not a working person. And it's the stupidity of the sentences. They are stupid. They are really, really dim. They are the words of somebody who does not live in our community. And, I get lots of messages going, can you start going on about how you haven't got any money? You're clearly rich. And I've stopped replying to them now because it's just so boring. I don't know how many times I can turn around and tell people how old my jumpers are and how I've painted my own furniture and I paint my own house. And, if you're going to judge me for being rich because I have panelled doors, then we've got a massive issue in this country. I can't even be bothered. But the point is, it's all relative. What we are all feeling, regardless of what our own personal circumstances are, we all know that whatever money we've got isn't enough. And we all know that we are being taken further and further down the path where it's not our money. So whether you've got oodles of money in the bank and you work long hours and you've worked really hard for it, or whether you've got not a lot of money in the bank but you work long hours and you've worked hard for it, it's your money to do with what you want. And this whole, we must hate those that have more than us. We must judge those that have more than us. We must start to pull out the battlefields and you've got more, so you're not my kind of person. Why? Because, you only need to watch Ben Fogle when he does his TV show where people just go and live in the arse end middle of nowhere on the arse end middle of no money because that's what they want. We're assuming, don't get me wrong, money does make the world go round. It makes it a whole lot easier because if you can actually afford your heating bills, then you probably will go to sleep a little bit better at night than somebody that can't afford their heating bills. And yes, I put myself in that category. It's really difficult. Well, we haven't had the heating on. We're not having the heating on. But my point is, we need to make choices based on what we as individuals want. And we also need to have the opportunity to be able to make the choices to put ourselves in certain financial positions. Now, there are pockets of the community that need state help, and damn right they should have it. Absolutely damn right. And this is another thing that we do. We pit each other again. Well, if you don't vote Labour, you don't want to help anyone. Cough. Really? Really? Why? We just want to spin that narrative because we want to do the pantomime boo hiss, you're the baddie, you're the goodie. No, we're all actually fairly decent, moderate people. You only need to see our reaction to horrific events that happen in this country and how we all get together to see that we are, in the main, a decent community. But what we are being is punished for our decency. We are being categorised, we are being polarised, we are being put in boxes and shelves and things that fit in Labour categories. We are not allowed the freedom of choice. We are not allowed the freedom of speech. We are not allowed the freedom of getting any money out or into our bank accounts without Rachel Reeves wanting her grubby mitts on it. And I mean, there you go. There's only so much you can say on the topic before you realise that you are arguing with insanity until they've gone. And then we'll have the next government in and, you know, it looks like it's going to be reform. And then I'm sure we'll all be doing this again about the choices that they're making. The only way we're going to get out of this cycle is when the MPs in the constituencies listen to the people in the constituencies and take that to their esteemed leader. And their esteemed leader listens and responds to the people in the constituencies, not to all of their own ideological values. We are living out Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer's and Bridget's ideological values. And Torsten Bell, I mean, I love that their the Resolution think tank is being toted around a bit at the minute. Touted around? Oh, you know what I mean. Well, obviously, that's where Torsten Bell's from. So a lot of the media outlets are referring to them. Well, Torsten Bell was the head honcho of the Resolution Think Foundation. No wonder he's in full agreement and the Resolution are going, oh, well, yeah, Rachel's got to do because he's writing the bloody script for her. She's literally the Torsten Bell puppet. I mean, God, you almost feel sorry for the woman, don't you? Almost. Anyway, here enters this. The Wix door is here. Oh, yes. So I've got, I reckon, a good hour in the kitchen with the drill, and I've got my pens and my spirit level and my rulers. Let's see if we can finally get the dishwasher door on. And if we can, I will totally be sharing it with you. I'm on day 2 of the dry eye drops. Now, some people have said these don't work well with contact lenses, and lots of people have said they do work well with contact lenses. I don't know. I haven't got my contact lenses yet, but you can rest assured I will be sharing with you when I do the results of my dry eye drops and my contact lenses. So here endeth this sermon. While Rachel Reeves is spending all of our money, I'm going back to the real world to fit my dishwasher door.